I love it. All right, so I will go ahead and, let me grab my tea. So I will monitor our chat as we are live in our Facebook group as well. So it looks like we are up. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back. So welcome back. This is day 2 of the May International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind. I am your host. I am a women's empowerment business coach, and I am the proud coach or proud presenter and host for many of these programs that we're going to be doing over the course of this month. It's been a really busy morning for all of us ladies running around here, and so I want to thank you for taking the time to sit with us and have this great morning conversation. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, and I'm super excited to be coming to you today at the day 2 of our May Money Talks Mastermind. And we are having a conversation with an awesome lady that I have known for a couple of years now. I can't believe we've known each other for a couple of years now.
No, time is flying.
Yes, Itzel, Baeza, and I have known each other for a couple of years, and we met in the midst of doing the power luncheons here in Southern California. And she is really great at speaking to us about loving your financial decisions, being a financial organizer. I could listen to Itzel talk all day, I think, because of the calmness and the joyfulness that's always in your voice. She's going to be speaking with us today on heal, ground, and grow your finances. I think that a lot of us have some stigma behind that, some, maybe not great personal experiences or family experiences. So I always love having conversations around healing, grounding ourselves, and then of course, growing our finances, as we're talking all month long about different ways to improve our financial standing, money, wealth, financial management. So thank you so much for joining me this morning, Itzel.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. I'm really excited. And good morning, ladies. I hope you're having a great day so far. And yeah, I guess a little bit about myself. I have worked in a 9-to-5 job, right? I have ventured off to be an entrepreneur. And I have struggled throughout most of my adult life, right? Once you go off to college and you're on your own and you have to make choices with the word stability, right? The word stability, and how sometimes we grow up and we're told to be a certain way, right? Or we only see and know certain things. So we're only comfortable with that and not comfortable with what we long for, what we daydream about, right? Because I used to daydream. They used to tell me, graduate from college, get your house, get a great corporate job, right? And you're going to be set for life. But I would daydream about other things. I'd be like, yeah, I have my little house, but it's not like this big 2-story. I have like a 1-story because I don't want to go upstairs. I want to go on vacation twice a year. But you don't think about that, right? When you're taught and you're growing up and you're trying to fit in and trying to feel stable or stability. And, as a mom, I did things backwards too. Like I got pregnant, I was unstable with my partner, and then we finally gave each other a chance and we're like, oh yeah, this can work. But having that uncertainty as a mom, not necessarily single mom because he was there, but a single mom in the sense of finances, right? I carried the burden a lot and not allowing myself to trust financially my partner, or to be like, not necessarily like, well, yeah, the trusting part, but I had to heal certain things about my beliefs. to be able to grow and feel stable in my finances. But it's also, I just want to share that it's really important to be able to heal, but you ground first, right? Grounding. So what does grounding mean? Grounding for me, and when I share people, when I help them do their budget or like a financial organization, I call it organization because you can play with it, right? A lot of people, when you think of a budget, you think you're like, oh my God, I gotta stick to this. I gotta do this for the rest of my life. But
Right. It's a
no.
flexible thing. It's got to ebb and flow with the tides, you know?
Yes, yes. Like you can actually have fun, but what we need first is clarity, right? We need clarity and we need to understand like what do we want, right? And we need to ground to remind ourselves. And grounding can be many things for many different people. It could be finally accepting the way your finances are, right? They could be positive, they could be negative. It is forgiving yourself if we have made a mistake in the past financially. Um, because we have to understand we are growing our whole lifetime, right? And we learn by making mistakes. But at that moment in time when you made that choice financially, it was the best choice that you had because that's the knowledge, right? That's what made you feel safe, because we have to remember, like, we make choices sometimes because of the way we feel. So being able to forgive yourself, being able to ground and allow yourself to have clarity and be like, okay, this is where my finances are. This is where I want to go. This is how I'm living my life. Do I want to change it? Do I not want to change it, right? Do I want to have more play money, or actually, no, I want to be a little bit stricter on myself and save a little more because I want to buy the house in 2 years. So there's so many things that can happen. But if we don't ground and focus and really accept what we want, it's going to be really hard to follow and grow our finances. And I used to like ground and grow, right? Like ground, okay, go, I'm gonna do this, boom, 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 boom. And then I try to do it, but then it wouldn't work, right? Because I didn't feel certain things that made me feel uncomfortable. Or sometimes we just try to ignore it, right? We try to ignore those icky feelings.
Yeah, we've had that conversation a couple times over the course of this program. And and just previously I spoke with, for our April mastermind, we were speaking with Jo Welch, who is the will fairy. So she teaches people about how to do a will, and and the importance behind that. And we were talking with her, and then yesterday talking with Stephanie Mears about you can't just ignore something that is so entwined into the fabric of your life, that if you just continue to ignore your finances, they're not going to take care of themselves. They're, it's something that we have to think about. And I really like how you talk about how we need to forgive ourselves for choices that we made, that in hindsight we can see that that was not the best thing to do. But in the moment, we made the decision based on the knowledge we had at the time, or the needs that we had at the time. And so it's so important that we don't harp on ourselves, or bang on ourselves and just beat ourselves up over those decisions, because it's what we had to do at the time. I think what's most important is, what do you do now and to move forward? It's learn from those experiences, and you start by writing these things down.
Yeah, just writing it down, or allowing yourself to talk to somebody, right? It doesn't have to be, or even talk to yourself if you have to in the beginning, right? That's okay. But allowing yourself to speak it, right? To let it out, because we keep silent. And I think that's a lot of issues as Latinas, right? As well. Like, we can't talk about money, or at least I grew up, my grandmother raised me. And We didn't talk about money. And the man took care of everything. But if you needed something, like I remember a lot of times my grandma was like, oh, my grandfather would give her money. And yeah, they had to go buy it at a thrift store because they couldn't buy new things. But she was like, she always bought things for my uncles and my aunts. And then she was always the last one. But she was like, oh, I would never say anything. And then she barely would tell me, right? Or when she didn't know when my grandpa was doing bad or doing well, she just accepted. But when we keep silent for so long and our generations keep silent for so long, it could be a little scary. It could be a little scary trying to like really accept and really be like vocal about like, this is what I need. This is what I want. And it's okay if I made this mistake, right?
I think that it's so very common. I've been learning that with, with the experience of speaking with women to be authors in our Boss Latinas anthology book. It has proven it, for me, someone who has just always naturally been very vocal about the things that I wanted to achieve. I definitely was, I think, a little bit different from a good majority of my family, where I was not afraid to speak up. And I was not afraid to say, I want this. This is what I want to do. How do you do this? How do you do that? I've always been a questioner. I've always asked a lot of questions. It's why I didn't do so well in Catholic school growing up. I was very much so reminded of that when I started reaching out to our Latina community about sharing their stories, because they're like, oh no, you don't talk about those things. You don't talk about experiences that you may have had that weren't so great. You don't share hardships. You keep that stuff to yourself. You don't tell anybody.
And it's scary, right? Because you're so afraid when you're first learning, right, to speak up and really accept what you want. It's very scary, the feeling of being judged, right? And it goes such hand in hand with money too, right? You feel so scared to be judged because you don't know or you're still learning, and you see other people around you, and because nobody talks about it, you just say about like the good things. They're like, oh, I made this investment and da-da-da, and you're just like, I don't even understand how stock works. Or when you're first trying to figure things out. But that's like the beauty of remembering to heal your finances, heal yourself, heal so you can speak, so you can understand. It's like baby steps, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is baby steps, especially in our community. But I understand, right? Because you're like, ladies, let's keep sharing because we need women to be able to do this. And that's what I love a lot about this mastermind that you've been doing. Like, we're creating the space for all of you ladies to feel confident and to feel there is someone that is teaching you, that is reminding you, right? Because more than anything, today I want to remind everyone, and Vihil, she really wants to empower all of you. But today I really want to remind you, just take baby steps, right? But the thing is, you want to be able to ground yourself, heal yourself, and then grow your finances, because you will be able to do it. We have a whole lifetime, right? We have ups and downs, but yeah, it's an intense topic.
I have definitely experienced those ups and downs. An only child. I have a somewhat small family, just my parents and myself, and then I had Victoria. And then, I have tons and tons of cousins outside of there, but like my little immediate family is just like, I'm an only child and I have an only child. And so it's just a small little group of us. And it's not something that we would have dinner table conversations about how, I've been reading this book for like the third time. And it's by Carrie Schwab Pomeranz, Charles Schwab's daughter. And the book is called How to Talk to Your Family About Money.
Yeah.
I've read this book like 3 times. And it always inspires me to continue having this conversation, reminding us that when we are sitting around the dinner table and having those conversations with our family, and I'm already talking with Victoria about, because she wants Robux so that she can play Roblox, and she wants Star Coins so she can play Star Stable, and she wants all of these, currencies so that she can play her games. And I'm like, okay, well, let's have that conversation about where money comes from and how you can grow it for yourself. What can you offer the world that will pay you? Because we do not come from a family who has had a lot of money. When my parents came over, when my great grandparents came over, some of my family was Native American from here. Some of my family, immigrated from Spain and from Yugoslavia, and did not come, with riches. We have always been the type of family that have worked hard to have what we have, what we could put together. And there's never been someone in the family who has really started to do that wealth building, that family wealth building. And so I talk with my daughter at our dinner tables about that. Like, what do you imagine? Because she wants a ranch, and she wants horses, and and I'm just like, you don't want just like a cat. You want like horses, and which is going to cost money.
It's so true. But I think that's like the exciting part, right? For us women who are learning about money and reading about it, right? Someone sent me We Should All Be Millionaires. So that's the book that I'm going to start. So have fun reading, ladies. Have fun like exploring and doing other things. I also have, and I keep them up here, but like for your kids, right? There's all these, it's hard to find some books, but like little things. Lily Learns About Wants and Needs.
I love it.
There's like all these fun little things that we can try to do with our kids. But the most important one, like you said, is really talking to them about money, like being careful with our choice of words. Because they're little sponges. They see everything that we do. They hear how we talk about money. And we have to remind ourselves that we give money power, right? We're the one that tells money where to go. If we don't, it's just all over the place, right? And it feels all over the place because we forget that we have the power. We're the ones that are telling money what to do. It's not the other way around. So when we remember that, right? And we show our kids that, hey, you can do whatever you want financially. You can grow. You want to buy that? Okay, well, how do we, like, what are you going to do? Like, depending on how you raise your family, right? Do you give allowances, or do they have to do a chore and then you reward them, right? Well, that's like the first book that I got, right? But reminding our children, like, what's a need and what's a want, right? Mommy, or mommy and daddy, or mommy, mom, like, we take care of your needs. Your needs are bum, 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 bum. Like, what you want is a want, right? Can you afford it? Can you not? Do you really want that one, or do you want something else? Like, showing them the power of choice and showing them that sometimes you can have it all, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes we have to wait for the next month to be able to buy something. Or with those little games, because Genesis, she has it's on her little tablet, but it's like this, it looks like a lump of like gum. I don't know. It like grows, it's like Poe or something. I don't know. But she has to like play games to earn money so that she can buy it like little clothes. And it was so funny because last time she bought it like this hairdo. And she's like, oh my God, look at the new hairdo that I got. Because it's just like this little lumpy thing. It's blue. But she's always like feeding it and earning points, like taking care of it. But that's kind of cool, right? Because she's understanding she earned something when she goes and she plays the game, so she can buy those things for her little virtual friend pet. I don't know.
Victoria has that too. Yeah.
Okay, so you know exactly, but I don't know what it's called. But you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, one of her things is she in the beginning, like I would be like, okay, well let's put like $20 on your account, and then that's gotta last you for like a while. Like let's see what you do. Like she's like, oh my God,
in an hour.
$20. Yeah, I was like, yeah, $20. Okay, so this is a lot. I'm gonna give you a whole $20 in your account, and you think about how long you can make that last. And we had this whole conversation about it. And literally within like an hour, it was gone. And then she's like, Mom, I need some more money so that I can buy these shoes for my character. Or I need a new hairdo for my character. And she's gonna go to a ball, so she needs a new dress. And I'm just like, what happened to the $20? Oh, well, I bought those shoes and I bought some fairy wings. Like, okay.
But it's funny, right? But I think that's the other part. And something you mentioned a little bit earlier too, about how our generations, our family generations, when they first came to this country, or depending if you're already in the country, how did those generations start off, right? What did they have? And then the next generation, how did they grow? It's kind of cool to think about, like how each time we try to do better, right?
Yeah.
And we try to teach them something new with our finances and, you know, gaining clarity, because at least for me, that's huge. And that's one of the reasons why I realized that I needed to be better with my money and heal like my money stories and heal my shame and my guilt, because I want them to do better. And just like they learn my habits, they'll pick up my emotions too, right? And they'll
very good point to bring up.
Maybe feel uncomfortable, or you know, you don't know what they're soaking up from you. So it's super, super important, I think. But
pay attention to the words, pay attention to the emotions. I think with our children, that we have to remember we are guiding them to their paths, you know, and then once they're old enough to start making decisions, you know, Victoria is 9 years old. And so, you know, she definitely needs, you know, assistance making decisions and being led down a path. And I talk with her about that a lot, is that you need to look, you know, past just the fairy wings. Like,
yes,
if you knew the ball was coming up, shouldn't you have saved your $20 to get that dress for your character, as opposed to the fairy wings for today? And so putting it into whatever kind of a context, to have them think about, well, if I would have saved this for later, I could have gotten the thing that I now want that has more importance.
Exactly.
I bought Victoria the book, Kidpreneurs. And
how was that one?
It's really cute. I really enjoy it. It's really good. It gives them examples. We ended up doing a lemonade stand.
Okay,
cool. We did an online lemonade stand, and we did an in-person lemonade stand. So we were like live streaming. This was a handful of months ago, a little while ago. And she, you know, we got all set up at the park, and you know, like I helped her. We got on Canva and we made her big signs that she helped the designs for. So we talked about the preparation that goes into, you know, getting the things that you need, so that when you're out there trying to sell your thing, that people feel like you're prepared, and that you've got, you know, that you've put some thought into it, and that you are working hard to raise money for something. She wanted a program for her school. I think it was like the garden club or something was doing something that she wanted to participate in, but she had to earn the money for it. And so we get all set up at the park. We have all of our lemonades, all of our cups, and we even got cookies. And
yummy.
And then as soon as we get all set up at the park, you know how we do, she was like, okay, I want to go play now. And I was like, oh, but what
No,
about
we
your
gotta sit here.
plan? She's like, well, you can do it, Mom, because you sit there and read while I go play. And I'm like, oh no. And so then we had that conversation about, well, if you really want something, you have to see it through. You have to continue down that path. You can't just, like hand it off. Like, you're not old enough to have an assistant that you can pay to sit at your table. If you're going to pay mommy to sit at the table and be your worker, then we can have that conversation. I said, but you're just starting out. You don't pay your staff. You don't have any staff. So you need to sit here and man the lemonade stand. And she was like, oh,
that's pretty cool. That's cool. But it's scary too, right? Because a mom, you're like, oh my God, I got to explain these things. And then you're like, oh, what am I doing? If you're like an entrepreneur, like it reminds you, you're like, okay, you got to focus. You got to focus. But it really does come down to the preparation, right? Hopefully once we're done with the live, maybe I'll try to find a way to I have a really simple, like a budget, like a little budget, like workbook. It's broken down into 5 categories. I love details. Obviously, I love organizing, and I'm like, woohoo, I had spreadsheets and stuff. And that was a little overwhelming for people. I didn't realize because for me, I was like, like everyone gets excited over different things. And I realized, I was like, oh no, like if someone's starting, it has to be way simpler. So way simpler. So I have, I'll try to put it underneath, like when we have this in the live.
Yeah, you could drop a link for it, or you can do like images and put your photos in.
I'll try to do that, because you're totally right. We have to prepare. It all comes down to preparing, right? Before you can find the clarity, before you can try healing. And like, ladies, don't forget, like, you can't heal everything in one day. It's going to take time. And you have to be very graceful and gentle with yourself. And I recommend focusing on one thing at a time. Because sometimes it's a lot and we want to give up, right? Because I've been there. I had gone through that, and I wanted to do everything, and I wanted to heal everything at once. But when you try to heal things and you let it come up, it's really uncomfortable. So it's okay to be graceful and really take the time to heal yourself, to love yourself, because that's basically what it is when you forgive. Sorry, my baby decided to come and join us. So if you hear the babbling, the 2-year-old, the sassy one.
That is totally okay. Yeah, I am going to be working with a new financial advisor, and her and I had our first conversation a couple of weeks ago. And she was like, okay, I need you to go back into your personal finances as well as your business finances. And, of course, separately, write down like any credit card balances, any bank balances, your car loan, like business loans, like write down all the money.
Everything.
Oh, and I do that regularly. So I was like, oh yeah, not a problem. She's like, no. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. I don't want your spreadsheet. I don't want your this or that. She's like, I want you to physically write it down on a fresh sheet of white paper. Everything that is personal and everything that's business, because the physical process of you looking it up and then writing it down on a piece of paper and just looking at it really gives you some in the moment clarity. And I kind of put it off, and I was like, oh, I could just download it right before our meeting. And she messaged me and was like, don't think you're just going to prepare right before our meeting. I want you to do this like a week before, so that it can like settle in, so that you have a clear picture of what it is that your finances truly look like.
Not only that, but it really helps to have memory. when you write things down, you remember it more.
Right.
Which is why I really enjoy workbooks or balancing, right? The word balancing, when you're seeing like how much you owe, how much money comes in, all that good stuff. It really helps when you write it down. So that's really exciting that you're doing that.
Yeah, it was super helpful. I did it, and I did it way before we met. And we had that conversation about, did I do it at the last minute, or did I do it the week before like I was supposed to? And I was like, nope, I did it the week before. And it was really good to do so that I can then take a look at it. And then I started looking at my calendar because we're going to start paying a bunch of things off. And, we're working on like kicking up my credit score so that, we can grow the business and make ourselves, put ourselves in that right kind of a position where we could qualify for bank loans. But it starts with you, it starts with the personal. Yeah. So I don't know if you know that you're muted or not, but you're muted.
See, baby fingers. And I'm like, I feel like, yeah, the business credit, but it does start with the personal first.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a great conversation to have. We, after I went through that personal step, like I had to set aside like a good hour so I could like pull up all of my online accounts. And she's like, I want real time balances. So I needed to go physically, on my phone or on my computer into each account so I could look, what is the current balance? What are the payments? What are the due dates? And write all of them down. And it really allowed me to get a good sense of where I was. And then I started looking at my calendar saying, okay, well, I could probably, pay this one off by this time and this one off by this time. And then you like give a brain like I do, you just instantly start strategizing that if I want to grow, I have to be able to have this like nice, clean foundation.
Yes. And it's super important to, like if anyone does have a business, always do your personal numbers and your business numbers, right? And always try to keep them separate because that's huge, right? Being able to see what your business does, being able to also understand like how much do you got to pay yourself, right? Because if you're self-employed, you got to pay yourself first. Like,
yes.
And people sometimes forget that. And I'm like, no, you're your own boss, so you got to pay yourself. And then you realize when you learn those things, right, about business credit, and you'll have to have your own business account, right? Like bank account to be able to apply for business credit. And then, being able like doing those accounts at like Office Depot or Staples, Costco, things where you're building those numbers. But like you said, it all starts with our own personal numbers, our own personal credit score. And then hopefully you'll have a great personal credit score and a great business, right? Because they're two separate things that sometimes people don't know.
Yes, we've talked about that before on this program, and I think at a lot of our programs, every businesswoman I think that has come on here who has shared their story and shared their experiences when we talk about the finances, we always talk about make sure that you're not commingling. Viviana always talks about if you really want your business to be a business and not just like a personal project, you need to have it with its own banking, with its own income statements, with its own budget, with its own bank account.
And like Viviana has shared, you protect your personal assets. Viviana, great attorney in heels, great advice.
I just love her. She highly recommended. She's in this group. She's been one of our featured speakers on several platforms for the Empowerment Empire, for our Power Luncheons, for our masterminds. It's having those conversations with people who have knowledge based on their own desires to obtain it. So they go to school to become an accountant. They get trained in financial planning. They get trained in how to be a business attorney, ask advice of these people. Have candid conversations with them just to say, I am starting my business and I don't know exactly what I need to do to set these things up. How can I be as responsible as possible and do things the right way? Because as you continue to grow and you start getting bank loans and you want to start getting an office, you want to move out of your home office and actually get a real office, you want to bring on staff, you're going to need this information. You're going to need these types of documents, your financial plan, your growth plan. I'll be talking later about you have to keep this working business plan document, just like your budget. It's a working document. It's not something that you just like set it and forget it. It's something that you need to keep live, that you need to constantly take a look at, so that it is reflective of where your business is going, what it is that you are planning for. Are you just going to be selling, your product or your service every once in a while? Or do you truly plan on making this an organization, a business that people can go to because you're seen as a resource? Really have those questions with yourself, those conversations with yourself, and make those decisions on where you want to go with your business. Yeah. Once you feel like you've made those decisions, then go and talk to those people that can help you get those foundational elements set up.
And talking about resources, who else is lined up for this week?
So I'm super excited. So we were going to have Kelly Marshall, and then she double booked, so she will not be presenting this week. But I have, so Angela Brand is going to be coming up on Thursday. She's the master fire trainer. Her energy is like through the roof. She's going to be talking about tapping into her riches. So she's AngelaBrandEnterprise.com for anybody who'd like to do some research. This woman is just like this powerhouse, super like high energy. She's been doing all sorts of online events. She's been having a lot of in-person events. I'm really excited to speak with her as well, as we are wrapping up. And I love our conversation so much. I didn't even realize that we were already at 9:50. So let me.
I was like, oh, who's the next speaker?
Let me grab the link for here. So what I wanted to close with is that yesterday with Stephanie Mears, she did a big overview of their business topics. We talked about the structure of your business, making these sorts of decisions that you need to make with your business owner hat on. Today, I really enjoyed our conversation with you, Itzel, that we have a moment to step back, to say, okay, let's have this conversation about healing from bad decisions that we know now, we're not the best decisions to make by ourselves or by our families, or that generational idea of wealth, healing those, what I would just call an inadequacy, healing those, the inability to make the right decision because I didn't have the information that would have helped to guide me towards what the best decision would have been. So let's forgive ourselves for not having that information, and let's do something about that.
Write yourself a letter, have a bath, light a candle, give yourself, make yourself a healthy dinner or a healthy breakfast. Give yourself 10 minutes, whatever that means, right? Forgiving yourself and loving yourself.
I'm glad that you said that. I think the physical act of doing something intentionally for yourself I think is so crucial. It's also a way for you to really pivot. You know, when you draw that beautiful bath for yourself and you light those candles and you make yourself this beautiful dinner and you tell yourself, I am doing this for myself as a celebration of my forgiveness, as you know, as a moment in time that I am saying, I am forgiving myself for bad decisions that I have made previously. And I am doing so by giving to myself this amazing bath. I'm lighting this beautiful candle. I'm making this wonderful meal for myself. I think that by making the point to call it out, to say, I'm doing this for me because. And then once you have given yourself that grace and you're able to become more grounded in where you would like to go, then you can reach out to those professionals that can really give you some great advice.
Because there's many professionals, and always remember, like, what you want, no one can take that away from you. And if you reach out to a professional and they're not aligned with you, they're not aligned with the choices that you want, you can always say no, right? Because we have to remember, and we have to give back the power to ourselves to be able to make those grounding choices. And to be able to grow, you have to stand firm on what you want. You have to stand firm in what do you believe financially. You have to stand firm that you're like, that sounds great, and I think I understand, but I'm not ready yet. Like, give me some time. Like, that's okay too. Like, you don't have to rush things. You can, but the one thing you do want to make sure that you have clarity and you understand is what is it that you want financially?
Make those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And do it with grace. Do it with, it's okay. We've acknowledged that we have made mistakes in the past with our financials. We have forgiven ourselves and given to ourselves that grace of forgiveness. And now let's grow. Let's grow into that person that we imagine ourselves being. And now let's grow. Let's grow into the person that we imagine ourselves being. And now.
Exactly. I got really excited because I've been researching about like love languages and reading like the book, the 5 love languages. And I have been trying to give myself that self-love with the financial, like in the financial way, right? And forgiving. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should make this more into like, maybe I should write down like the things, how you can give yourself self-love depending on what your love language is.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Itzel. I really enjoyed this awesome conversation with you. I just posted, thank you for watching, ladies, here in this amazing group. We are live streaming into our Latina Entrepreneurs Jefas Unidas Facebook group all month long, talking with phenomenal women who are giving us their time and their energy and their knowledge over the conversation of money topics. I'm looking forward to our upcoming conversations where we are really diving into what is generational wealth and how we can be the one to start that. If we don't come from families who someone else started that generational wealth growing process, you can be the one. It can absolutely start with you. I tell my daughter all the time, mommy is working to, build her empowerment empire so that you are left with a legacy that is going to help support your love for taking care of horses, for, whatever it is that you eventually want to do. But it can start with us. It starts with conversations like this, with taking the time to acknowledge that, yes, we, culturally, we don't talk about money, especially as women. In our culture, we don't get to talk about a lot of the money making decisions. And we'll be putting out some book titles during the course of these conversations all month long. And I encourage you to reach out to, Itzel is in our group. I'm in the group, of course, and reach out with your questions. I'll be posting, also some surveys in the group asking what sort of money questions do you have, or what are some misconceptions that you have had in the past about the way that money can work for you. And hope to continue this conversation throughout the month, so that we can, allow ourselves the opportunity to learn and not feel like any questions that you might have to ask are not valid, because they are all valid. There are no dumb questions in this group. I really want to know so that we can understand how to help you grow, how to understand your perspectives, where you're coming from. What is it that we can do to work with one another? We are in this group for a reason. We are jefas unidas, coming together to, support one another. And so this is one way that this group, that as your facilitator, I want to really make sure that we do. This is the third year that we've done this program, where all month long we are talking with women, about their expertise. And I wanted to note that it is free to join the Zoom if you want the workbook and the recordings of all of the conversations. Then you can register for $100, and that is part of our month-long fundraiser to put money into our Young Women Entrepreneur Education Foundation. Thank you, Itzel, for donating at the Power Luncheon.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I saw that, and I wanted to thank you on the show about how just the difference your $20 can make to building this fund, because the goal for it is towards the end of the year is, if you are in need, we'll be putting the scholarship application in the group. If you are in need of actual cash, not a gift certificate for a coaching session, not a free service or something, you need actual cash to pay for, I always say website development or advertisement placements, or buying your domain name, helping you to pay for your business license, whatever it is that you need hard cash for. We're going to be opening up those applications towards October. So if you do register as a businesswoman or a business owner for the $100, you'll be adding to that fund. So I wanted to make sure, make a note of it, that we are doing this as a fundraiser, as well as to give you as much knowledge as we can on how to manage, grow, and understand your finances, your personal as well as your business finances. So with that, thank you so very much, Itzel. It was great to chat with you and to get your healing vibes. I just love it. I just love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak this morning. And I hope everyone has a great day. And if you want to donate, that'd be great towards the fundraiser, or, have all the videos, like Vihil said, and a workbook. You can always share it. So it's
absolutely
fun.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, you ladies have an awesome day today. If you have any questions about the program, definitely let me know. I have posted the registration link where you can donate or you can register for free. If you'd like to join us on the Zoom conversation, we'll be having a big group conversation on May 31st. It is the last day of the month. It is on a Tuesday, and where everyone can join in on a Zoom, and so we can all talk about our experiences. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Like we had said earlier, when you register and you get the workbook, you're able to have all the bios and all the photos and the presentation titles of each speaker, where you also have a place to take notes for every speaker. So you can keep it all nice together in one beautiful little packet. And I'll post some photos of what that looks like here, because we all know I love my workbooks. So thank you again, Itzel. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the IWB Mastermind Presents May Money Talks. Thanks again, everyone.
Bye.